On the first day of the Whole30, I had a salad paired with rotisserie chicken for all 3 meals. Similar to meat production, agriculture also has its own detrimental consequences. An example is the use of synthetic fertilizers. The excess nitrogen and phosphorus results in runoff in harmful algal blooms in aquatic ecosystems, emissions of nitrous oxide, a potent greenhouse gas, and contamination of groundwater. Emphasizing foods with fewer ingredients, I experimented with stir-fried and baked vegetables, adding only salt, pepper, and olive oil. I also had to cut out all grains, including the 3 staple crops, wheat, rice, and corn. This sustainable change placed a lower demand on land usage and soil degradation for agriculture. Once soil nutrients are depleted, the humus layer can take up to 500 years to regenerate itself. Here, I switched back to salads and swapped my protein source from poultry to salmon and beef. However, meat consumption also emphasizes a high demand for crop production. For example, more than 50% of the world's corn and between 70 to 75% of the world's soy is used for feed for chicken, pigs, cattle, and farmed fish. I had an assortment of fruits for breakfast, a traditional Chinese dish with tomatoes and egg for lunch, and a salad with an oven-baked fish fillet for dinner, only salted and peppered, of course. Along with soil degradation and nutrient depletion, overexploitation of soil in relatively dry areas can result in desertification of the land. On the last day, my protein sources consisted of eggs, almond milk, and chicken. The Whole30 restricts the consumption of legumes and soy for protein, which is another sustainable change. For example, soybeans are one of the leading drivers of deforestation in the Amazon basin, which can contribute to habitat destruction, a decrease in biodiversity, and climate change as forests act as carbon sinks.
Because I cut out white and red meat, I had to look into other alternatives of protein because my primary protein source was removed from my diet. On the first day, I didn't really know what I wanted to eat, so I ate whatever was convenient for breakfast and lunch, and in this case, it was a muffin and a cookie. For dinner, to get some protein, I ate salmon with a side of rice and edamame. As you go up in trophic levels, there's a decrease in stored energy, according to the 90-10 rule, and because of this, it's more efficient to eat plants than animals because not as much of the energy is lost or released. On this day, I ate a quick and easy cereal for breakfast, and for lunch, I had an apple. For dinner, I had something more filling, which was a vegetarian stir-fry. Meat products take an excessive amount of water and energy to produce. For example, the production of 1 pound of beef uses about 1,800 gallons of water, as opposed to 1 pound of soybeans that only requires 216 pounds of water. On this day, I had a grilled cheese sandwich for breakfast and a bagel with cream cheese for lunch. For dinner, I had fried rice with egg and other vegetables. On this day, I had a homemade blueberry muffin for breakfast, along with homemade hummus and pita bread. For dinner, I had some rice with Chinese greens and shrimp. On the last day, I had cereal for breakfast, and for lunch, I had hummus and pita, along with 2 Bosco sticks from the Commons. For dinner, I had some celebratory sashimi and other sushi.
On the first day of the Mediterranean diet, for breakfast, I had a watermelon smoothie with almond milk. For lunch, I had a bagel with watermelon, and for dinner, I had pasta with tomatoes, carrots, and lean chicken. I only ate meat in one of my meals, and such behavior helps reduce the use of CAFOs and other large-scale animal breeding techniques. This results in an increase in genetic diversity within animal species. In this meal, I did not have breakfast, but for lunch, I had a rice bowl with lemongrass chicken, salad, an egg, and a spring roll. I was not able to eat the spring roll and the rice, however, since the rice was a refined grain and the spring roll was fried. For dinner, I had Mexican food catered, but I was only able to eat the rice and chicken. I had a pear smoothie with almond milk for breakfast, oranges and apples for lunch, and noodles and carrots with tomatoes and potatoes for dinner. This diet promotes the consumption of fruits and vegetables, which can be seen in this meal plan. I had a green smoothie with almond milk, grilled fish with vegetables, and a mix of lentils, purple, and brown rice. For dinner, I had a seafood and tofu soup with the same whole grain rice mix. Since the human population is growing exponentially, the demand for stable crops like grains is increasing as well. However, the diet had a larger emphasis on whole grains because they provide more nutrients and are overall more beneficial to human health. Lastly, I had a berry smoothie with almond milk, a baguette with prosciutto ham and lettuce, and white and brown rice with vegetables and chicken. However, I was only able to eat the brown rice. Throughout this entire project, I stayed away from processed foods. Processed foods leads to humans being more susceptible to diseases like obesity and heart disease because they contain artificial flavors, colors, and additives.